Art is too important not to share. Welcome to the Allie and Callie Artcast.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie, and we're with the Coeur d'Alene Arts and Culture Alliance. Hello, everyone.
Oh my God, Callie, you're back. I missed you.
I missed you too. I can't believe it.
I know.
It was like the longest vacation I've ever had.
Really?
It was so great. And as everyone might have remembered that I mentioned I went to Italy.
Oh, just once or twice.
And it was lovely. The weather was perfect. We went from Venice down to Naples, and my favorite spots were Venice, Florence, Rome, Cinque Terre, Monte Rosso in particular of the 5 little cities. And La Spezia is one of the main cities that you can hit when you're going to Cinque Terre, those 5 little like on the coast towns. And then we had Florence was lovely, and Rome in a day. That was crazy.
I bet.
It was so great, though. I saw the Forum, the Colosseum, the Trevi Fountain. I did the Wish with my husband.
Yay.
It was so great. Did about, on average, 10,000 to 20,000 steps a day. It
That's
just depends on where we were, and took trains everywhere. Love the trains. Love the trains. You know what? That's one thing I will say. Maybe Europe has got it going.
Yeah.
What a great way to get around.
Oh, I agree.
And I wouldn't want to drive there anyway. You've driven there.
I've driven. Yeah,
you
that
know
was
what it's
not
like.
fun in Rome. Rome was not okay. I ended up on a railroad track with the car, with the rental car.
Oh boy!
Because my sister was in charge of navigating, and I could not hold her attention, and I ended up on the railroad track.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it's just taking your life in your hands when you just cross the street.
Yeah.
Because they drive like crazy, and they weave in and out, and they have very small cars too. They're very small. Stu loved all the different cars and their baby little. Oh God, he would name them all, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I see it. And he took pictures of cars, and I'm like, all the buildings and the statues and the fountains
and the art,
and he's like, look at this car, look at this smart car, it's got 4 seats in it, and I'm like, I could care
art
less.
Is all in the eye of the beholder.
That's right, exactly. But we ended up in Naples, and that was not my favorite. It seemed like they actually had high rises, so it felt like another city.
Yeah.
And then it was so much graffiti and kind of dirty. It was the dirtiest city out of anywhere we visited. But then that was the day before we left, so we decided to go to Sorrento, which is definitely on the Amalfi Coast. And we didn't do Pompeii, but we did go to Sorrento, and we took an old, you can only get there either by ferry or you can rent a car, but again, we weren't going to do that.
Right.
But we did take an Italian train that's one of the oldest trains in Italy, and it takes you about...
You mean the other trains you were on weren't Italian?
Well, they were Italian, but like you could take the Eurorail or the like Ventilia. I don't know how to pronounce some of them, but this was like the train that has no air
conditioning. Like the
local train, no air conditioning. A guy was playing an accordion. There was one on that was playing a violin, and so it was really cool. And that was like stopping every 5 minutes at a little town, so you're like, well, this is going to be a long trip.
Right.
But it was so worth it, because I said, let's not end it on Naples, because it was so not the place you wanted to end on, because everything was so beautiful and the food was so good, and oh my God, the pasta and every wine. You could get a half liter of wine for €6, which is about $8.
Let's go.
I know. It was amazing.
We should just move there.
We should. I would do it. I think I would. I loved it. And
that's how I felt when we got back. I wanted to find a place.
It was so beautiful, and it was a little, of course, crowded. I mean, and I can't imagine that place in July and August. I can't even imagine.
Right.
But it was beautiful, and there was a couple days it was overcast, and there was a couple nights we had rain at night. And that was when we were staying in that huge Riva lofts in Florence that had these like 30-foot high ceilings, and it used to be an old factory that they had remodeled. It was such a great building. Anyway, so fun. Loved it. My husband, we had a great time. We didn't really fight. We had our code words.
I love that.
Yeah. So the code words, when I was getting bitey, it was like, you just kind of whop me. Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean whop? He's like, it's like, you're like, and it's a whap. And I'm like, okay, all right. So he's just going to say whap when I'm being bad. And then I said, well, imagine us on The Amazing Race. I said, do you want to be known as the guy that, he's mean to his wife, or he's not very pleasant around? So I go, Amazing Race. And he goes, okay, I get it. Because he would get upset about certain things, and I'm like, you know what? Amazing Race. And so we had a great time, though. It was awesome. But it was good to get home, and I'm still jet lagged, but it's the minute we got home, it was like, go, go, go.
Oh, the minute she got home, I called her and said, here's what we have going on this week.
I was like, oh God, okay. So I'm still trying to catch up on sleep, but I'm so glad to be home, and it was a trip of a lifetime.
I'm so glad you had a good time.
Thank you, Stu, for our 25th wedding anniversary. It was well worth it, and I'm excited for your trip for Portugal.
I know. I can't wait to be talking about that.
I know. So I'll get to hear all about that side.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and what else is going on? Anything else we got coming up? Oh, we're going to go to the coast.
To the coast.
Yeah, we're going to interview a great...
Jeffro Uito.
Yes, who's a driftwood artist. And some of his work is at Cranberry Road.
Cranberry Road Winery.
Yeah, so if you want to see some of his artwork, it's there. Right. And he does some really interesting work. It's beautiful. So
beautiful.
We thought it would be a fun Allie and Callie on the road again.
That's right. On
the road again. We just can't wait to get on the road again. So, but today we are in Cheryl Metcalf's studio. Yes.
Woohoo. Yay. Woohoo. Thank you, Cheryl, for having us.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Here we go.
Here we go. And she is sculpting us.
She is sculpting us, and I feel like it's a little bit like a voodoo doll. Because whenever we get out of line, she threatens to poke our eye out.
Poke our eye out.
But I really wouldn't.
No,
I know you wouldn't.
At the farmer's market, you started doing some live models, and that started, a couple weeks ago?
I think it's about 3 to 4 weeks now we have under our belt.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we were there yesterday, whatever day that was, and I have no idea. And it was rainy and cold, and you did a great job.
I know. It was really fun. We had a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And so now
we have a video on our
students.
Facebook page.
Yes.
Of the 3 hours condensed into 22 seconds.
Yeah, the time lapse. Which
yep.
is
So
very
you can
cool.
see the magic that Cheryl does with the clay.
But you're multitasking, so not only are you talking, you're sculpting right now.
So Cheryl right now is sculpting.
Working on 2 very gorgeous ladies.
Oh, shucks.
So tell us about, how did you fall in love with sculpting?
Yes.
Well, you know what? Falling in love with sculpting and sculpture are almost, they're such a similar question, but in growing up, I was always attracted to sculpture, but never imagined it being the sculptor. So that didn't happen until I bought a gift for my daughter, and it rebounded back to me.
Right. I've had some of those happen.
Yeah. Well, it was probably the best gift. She likes to say that it's, I owe her a thank you because she wouldn't take the lessons that I was so excited to give to her.
So you took them.
Yeah. So
That's
the
awesome.
very first one, I was hooked. Couldn't sleep. Thought about it all week long. It was only one day a week. It was at Terry Lee's.
Oh, that's
At that time, he had the studio on Lee Court, which is now where Cracker Barrel is.
Right.
Oh,
Used to be, they had a hardware store, a scuba dive store, and then Terry had a gallery.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of history in that spot, and that's where my beginning was.
Wow.
Wow.
Too much fun.
Did he teach you then?
Yeah.
So you
Right.
are a prodigy.
Right?
Prodigy?
A prodigy.
That sounded funny to me.
Yeah.
You are a Terry Lee prodigy.
Yeah.
And George Carlson taught Terry, and George was there just a couple times when I first started, but primarily I learned from Terry Lee and have taken advanced classes in Southern California from Andrew Cross, and that's anatomy. So very
Wow,
cool.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and Sister Paula. Do you guys remember who Sister Paula was?
No.
Convent, retired convent in by the Spokane College, I believe. And she was a welder. She did the Garbage Goat. Is one
Really?
of her more popular pieces in at the Riverfront Park.
Oh,
You
okay.
put your trash in it, and it's,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a vacuum.
Right?
So she would have classes.
Oh, fun.
And so I would go with Rhea Giffen to those. And boy, if you touched the model or did something wrong, she was like that old nun. Boy, it just came right out in her. Boy, we got lectured more than once.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
But I have had some great influencers.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
a lot of fun.
Well, were you an artist before sculpting? You must have had some experience.
I can only tell you my desire to be an artist was over the top. I would always try to draw. It was horrible. Values. Couldn't ever get any depth. Couldn't get any form. My aunt tried to teach me when I was in grade school, and she kind of gave up. So,
whoops.
yeah, whoops. So it was kind of a shock that I just was like so taken with it that I couldn't stop. And I'd carry a ball clay around with me, and even if I was in the theater, I'd be trying to sculpt somebody's face when they couldn't see me, or you're staring at them to the point of awkwardness. Right? Trying to figure out their features. But that's so as far as when it started was my daughter was latter year of high school, and but in junior high I would just sit in the library and just pore over the books and just look at all the sculpture, and so it's funny because sometimes I think we're supposed to do something we just really don't know.
Right.
It found you.
I guess.
It found you. It's like it was always there, but
Right.
it clicked.
I don't know. It should have clicked earlier.
Yeah, it would have been nice, but it happens
we wish,
when it happens.
I know. I sometimes wish things had happened in a different time zone, like, meeting my husband would have been nice. But I wouldn't have been the same person.
Right, exactly.
And so you might have approached it different. It might have been different. So... And you're doing such a great job.
Well, so those classes were on Tuesdays, so I only sculpted on Tuesdays for like 12 years.
Wow.
And being a manicurist and still just surviving, making a living.
Right.
That was all I could do.
Yeah.
And I would do stuff on the weekends, and as I got a little better, I got into some galleries and I do demos with them, but primarily it was Tuesdays. So I always say like 12 or 13 years of Tuesdays, and here I am.
Wow.
Right. Well, there you go.
And now you have your own studio in the
Rockford building.
Yes. The Black building
The
is
Black
what I
building.
call it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to buy some big old yellow balloons or something. Sorry,
Maybe we
Tandon.
can paint some yellow balloons on the side.
Actually, I
of the
have them
building.
in my cart in Amazon right now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
that's
good.
fun.
I just haven't pulled the trigger yet.
I think Tandon spoke at one time of doing a mural. We'll see on
Yeah.
this building.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
It would be
That
nice.
would be cool.
It's a
Big.
great space, though, I have to say. These studios are awesome. If you haven't been to the Rockford building, definitely check them out. They're here every
Every day.
day. Somebody's
much.
here.
Right. It's an open business. So,
Right.
and we've got a brand new business coming in the front, and I believe it's like, I want to say it's a nice clothing line. I think.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And we've got a new florist down on the end.
Oh,
and
nice.
that's Bree, and she does an awesome job.
Oh, that's great.
Tracy's across the hall, and she does a lot of sports painting.
Right.
Tracy Holmes.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Chris and Sheila Grubb.
Right. So there's ceramic, and another fine artist is Chris with the
With
bronzes.
his sculptures.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and Tandon, of course. And Tandon has worked hard to make this a creative building, a creative space.
He's done a really good job, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's a really cool studio.
Yeah, and when I came in, he's like, put holes in the wall, do whatever you want, make it yours.
Yeah.
It's never been like, no, don't do this, don't do that.
anything.
And,
Right.
and he's always at the door going, you need help. How you doing?
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's a very nice place to work. It's very comfortable,
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
and we can do the art walk nights.
Yep, you're open on Art Walk, which is a great time to come in and
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to come
Meet
and
the
look
artists.
at all her pieces. And
Yeah, I just cleaned, and I was just telling you guys a little earlier, it feels sterile. I'm trying to get my, and somebody else would walk in
your
and say it
definition
looks
of
good.
sterile
Exactly.
is very different. from
Yeah.
mine.
it looks great
You'd
in
be
here.
surprised what's at home on the floor to make those shelves empty enough to bring in here. I must have 50 pieces at home on the floor.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
I'm going to
Wow.
melt down a bunch of them and weed through, and I so far have managed to get 4 in here.
Wow.
So I call it my graveyard of
Well,
sculpture.
be sure to check out our Facebook page because we will be posting photos of the studio and what's
Yeah, if you
in
see
here.
anything you like, or reach out to me. And also the sculptures that I'm doing on Wednesdays, I'm trying to do my idea for the Wednesday sculpt is that you can bring somebody to be sculpted, and that piece you can purchase that piece.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
So
And that's at the Wednesday farmer market.
yeah,
Farmers market.
yeah, and it
in
only runs
downtown.
till September something.
Right.
So
And that's 5 to 8 on Wednesdays on 5th and Sherman.
On 5th and Sherman, 4 to 8. 4 to
correct.
4 to 8.
7. I don't know
4 to
why it's
7.
4 to 8 this coming, but
Yeah.
it's normally 4 to 7. 3 hours. So I have 3 hours to get their likeness, and if I need to touch up, I'll just meet with you. And
And Cheryl was telling everybody she can normally do one person in about 3 hours.
yeah, I got.
She was
a
challenged
start.
by 2.
I got a decent start on you guys though, and it was cold. My clay got cold.
It
And
was very
Yeah.
cold and windy and rainy.
but it was
But it
kind of
was
fun.
pretty fun because the little girl that you sculpted previously kept
Yes.
stopping by to check in and see how it was going.
She's going to be gone for the summer, and she just by the time it was done, she was hugging on me and she loved me, and she's so
sweet.
cute.
That's
So
adorable.
It's a connection that you make through art.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So tell us about this. So is this clay? This is different clay, right? This is
not normal clay that a sculptor
this is the oil.
that's using a wheel and making bowls would use.
Right, ceramic.
Right.
okay.
So-
That's ceramic. Okay.
Right, but you can sculpt with that.
Oh, you can.
You can. I just didn't learn that, and the finish is a lot different. You have to hollow it out, sand it, and but you have a finished piece once it goes to the kiln if it doesn't break in the kiln.
Right.
But I learned with this, it's an oil-based clay, and when I'm done with it, I can melt it down and reuse it.
That's awesome.
Because it's oil-based, you make a silicone, or there's a couple different kinds, but primarily silicone mold over it, and then there's a mother mold, which can be plaster or fiberglass. There's several ways. The fiberglass just supports the silicone once the original piece has been removed out of it.
Right.
And then the process, so now you can pour anything in it. You can pour plaster, like you see if you go to any museums, you'll see like Rodin. What's the name of the museum that's?
The Mac.
No, it's on the along the river. Mary Hill Museum has a lot of Rodins, and there's a lot of plasters in there, and they've got this
cool.
like back hall, and there's a whole bunch of his. So somebody's taken those molds and they've just poured plasters, and maybe that was just for the museums. I don't know.
Right.
But so anyway, the point is once you have the silicone, you can pour the plaster and get a dirt cheap.
Right.
Replica.
Right.
Not as hardy as a resin, which would be the next step up.
Yeah.
You can send it to a foundry, and they'll pour a foundry wax in it, and it goes through quite a process to make a bronze piece. That's more dollars, but you've got a piece to hand down through their generations.
Yeah.
Right.
Last forever.
Hey y'all, it's Jason from Tubbs Coffee Roasters. We are North Idaho's specialty coffee roaster. We are homegrown and we are local. We love coffee and we love our community, especially Allie and Callie in ArtCast. We have a retail space in our roastery in Hayden, and we can also be found on the shelves at Super One and Yolks. And if you like to buy coffee online, we do offer subscriptions. You can find us at tubscoffeeroasters.com. Support arts and culture and your local roaster. That's all.
So tell us a little bit more about the foundry. I know we don't have one around. So We did. What happened?
They were ready to retire, and there was nobody to purchase.
It's such a bummer.
It's a huge loss for our community. However, we have more of them popping up around us. So my foundry for years has been Parks Bronze in Enterprise, Oregon. Great people there. I can't speak highly enough for the patina artist, Bart. So very, very nice spot. And for me, I happen to love the drive. Most people don't, because it's that rattlesnake drive. Like over that gorge. Oops.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
And it's windy. It goes through canyons, goes across the river. It's like unbelievable. I've passed goats and deer and all kinds of animals.
Fun.
Where's Enterprise? Why?
Joseph, 20 miles short of Joseph. You can get to it like if you go to Spokane and go through, I think, Colfax maybe.
Okay.
But you go past the Palouse, Lewiston.
Oh, okay.
Lewiston over to Asotin, and then you go up and through the mountain.
Oh, okay.
And that's just an hour drive. That's my favorite part. It's a 4-hour one-way trip.
Okay.
Wow, that's a long drive.
Snowy days, there's a lot of times in the winter I can't
get
make
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be hard.
And I think there is also a foundry in Montana that several artists from this area use. Not your favorite?
No, I actually have never used them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have just spoke with them briefly, and then there's another one that's really good there's several. The one in Joseph is a really good one. There's another one, Firebird Bronze, Portland. Portland. They did the Chief, the life-size Chief.
Oh, right.
Yeah. That's
and
good.
yeah, the foundries are a crucial part.
Right.
And last year, the foundry needed to stay along with everybody else, and there were two 15% raises equaling to 30% by the end of the year.
Wow.
And so just like all the other businesses through COVID, they had their troubles. So
Sure. Absolutely.
And now they're pretty backed up. It's a long wait, isn't it?
Every one of them.
Right.
It's it's difficult because the cost is so high. So yeah.
Right. So if you're wondering why a small bronze is $5,000, it's because it's expensive.
And
the process to get it done.
There's many steps.
Yeah.
So the bronze is, when I mentioned the silicone, the mold making, when you make a piece, the first piece out, generally the mold is, unless it's a monument size, the mold and the first pour generally are the same price. So if you take something to the foundry and they give you a quote of $1,500, it's going to be $3,000 just to start that piece.
Wow. Yeah. So that's why they're so expensive.
Yeah. And you then you average, say you have a piece, you put an addition size of 10 on it. You would take the cost of the mold and average it out 10 times and put that into the cost of each piece. That's assuming you sold 10 pieces.
Right.
So there's a lot of little stuff to it, but it's
So how many would you usually make?
My average is 10 to 35.
Oh, okay. So like the little Carefree Alleys.
Carefree Alleys, I loved so much. She's one of the few pieces I did not put a number on. I was kind of engraving one in the bottom, but I just love her, and she's a nice intro piece.
She is a great intro
She really
piece.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I say intro piece, it helps people to maybe start their collection, and also just to know me. So
Yeah.
And I love that you now have her dress in
Multiple
colors.
I love
Thank you, Bart. Right?
That's amazing.
I did ask for colors, and he goes with it. So
That's great.
I don't.
It's just fun because
I know
I've
what I
seen
want,
a
but-
photo of them all lined up in the different colors.
Yeah, that was at the Foundry.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, Bart's amazing. So you can, if you have a good patina artist. I'm not the best one in descriptive words, so I can communicate with him, and he can feed back to me what he thinks I'm saying, and most of the time he's right on.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty important to be able to communicate with that person and them do what you want. So I have been to a foundry before where they articulate that they understand, and they show me the samples, and your piece always comes out the same when you walk out the door.
Right.
Just a basic
Right.
brown.
Yeah.
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 That's cool.
We should go to a foundry.
We should. I've been
We
to,
had talked about doing that at one
That
time.
would be
we have,
really
and
good.
and then COVID hit, and it made it
that's right.
impossible
I
to
remember
do. And I really want us to try that again.
I'd
All
love
right.
to see that
Yeah.
I will.
process.
I'll put my.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
And the little Carefree Alley, taking that to the Foundry and having them do that again would be a great tour. I mean, even if you had another piece going.
I do. I'm looking for her right now. She's on a
little-
box.
She's in a box.
On a box.
On a box.
On a box.
There she is. She's back there. She actually
Oh,
is.
right.
She has a short little dress on, and she has like a backpack strap over her shoulders. But the backpacks, it's not really a backpack. They're strapped on wings. So sometimes you earn them and sometimes you don't. So these are temporary.
that.
Oh, that's
They're
good.
temporary wings.
I like that.
But I think a tour that includes in the price one of those
piece.
small pieces would be really fun
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everybody goes home with one,
Right.
and
be
they
great.
got to see the process because it is a really cool process.
That's something to plan a year ahead, because you have to get the foundry to the state where they can take you and do that, because they're
Right.
so backed up.
And I've
Right.
already talked to Andreas at Inspire Tours
To do a little
about
tour like
doing
that.
a tour of this and
Yeah.
making that happen. So
Oh,
I
wow.
think
We just
that
have
could
to-
be. He's got the bus.
Yeah.
We all go. We
Yeah.
We
Nice.
just have to arrange it with the foundry.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
So you brought up the Chief Joseph sculpture that you did. That was commissioned by the
City.
City
City of
City
Coeur
Arts
d'Alene.
Committee.
They had actually put a call to
commission.
artists out nationwide, right? And so that was fun. That there were quite a few entries, and somebody in the committee was kind enough to give me a printout of a bar chart of the votes. And so I really was a slam dunk on that one.
You
So-
were.
That's awesome.
How fun was that?
Right. And it is installed down at the NIC Beach.
Yep.
And it's a very cool piece.
Is it the roundabout? Is that where it is?
No.
No,
it's right on the corner.
It's on the way into
And if you
the
take
Dyke
Hubbard,
Road.
you take Hubbard in, there's two roundabouts that get up to the Dyke Road.
Yeah,
It's
and then
right
it's right
after
there.
the second at the
Right.
top.
That's right.
Beginning
Yeah.
of the Dyke Road.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
And when that call came out, I was like, I kept knowing I needed to apply. And I like, do you ever feel like it was like the sculpting, you ever feel like you're supposed to have something?
Yeah.
And it happened to be that I just had acquired my mom, and she had some major surgery, and so she had just come to live with me. And so I kept telling her this was a major thing, and I actually asked her if she minded if I applied, because
Wow.
I'm not sure that she really understood the ramifications of the time commitment.
Right.
But she encouraged me to apply, and
Good.
yeah, it was interesting because everything inside of me felt like I was supposed to do that.
Well, clearly you were. 'cause
Yes. It's beautiful.
It's up and it's a really gorgeous piece.
It's large too.
It's,
I'm ready for another one.
Yeah.
City of Coeur d'Alene.
Come on,
That's
Sid.
right.
Bring it on.
Bring
Bring it on.
I'm sure there's more to be done.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll get right in there with Terry Lee. Come on, Terry, let's go do one.
That's
Yeah.
right. I know Terry's got quite a few out there.
Yeah, he's having fun with that. There's a couple he's talked about that I may end up getting the opportunity to do, but we can't Can't talk about that. Yeah,
Right.
Secret.
It's a secret.
Top secret.
In the
You
world.
heard it here.
In
There's
the
something
world
in
of
the
art.
works.
Something in the works, but we can't tell you because we don't even know.
We'd have to kill you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Cheryl, what's your favorite piece that you've done so far? Do you have a favorite?
Gosh, some of my favorite pieces are still in clay. There's one that's an armor of God, and it's a female Roman warrior. And so actually the purpose of her is to have verses on the appropriate parts of her, I wouldn't say gear, the armor.
Her armor.
Yeah. Which would basically be the armor of God as far as scripture goes. But she's a really cool piece. You can tell she's a little busty. Her face is a little masculine, but I really like that piece. I've got a lot of fun pieces. I love there's an angel that is in bronze, and I call her Vespers, and actually Bart at the Foundry kind of came up with that name. And she is an angel, and she looks a little more solemn because her head's kind of down on a knee. But I don't know, she's special to me. I had one made for my mother in purple for her birthday this year.
Oh, wow.
Her wings are very iridescent purple. My mother is 92, and you know how they like their purple.
Does it have a red hat?
You know what? I think that we need to make one.
Just add
That is a very good idea.
purple hat.
I'll work on that. And it could be fabric.
Yeah, just a felted red
And then
hat.
there's a cowgirl that's yet to be bronzed. She needs some support. She needs a financial backer. She needs somebody
Yeah.
who says,
Oh, yeah,
hey, I'm
that's-
ready to buy her.
Oh, wow,
She's
that's
fun.
pretty
So
cool.
she's kind of ready to face the world. There was a gentleman that came in and was he was getting married, and he thought that it'd be really cool to have her and then another cowboy, which would be himself. And so she's all ready to draw. If you haven't seen her or a picture of her, she's got a pistol in each hip. She has the woolly chaps on. She has a scarf around her neck, a nice cowboy hat, and her derriere's a little bit more risque. She has cowboy boots and spurs, but she's got a pretty serious look on her face.
She's ready to shoot.
Right?
Yeah.
She's ready to draw.
So this gentleman was like, if you could make a cowboy and we can put them standing back to back, we're like a couple ready to face the challenges of
that's kind of fun.
the upcoming journey they're on. Yeah, isn't that
Right?
That
Yeah,
is kinda
that's
fun.
cool.
cool? Yeah.
And again, there will be images on our Facebook page
Yeah, we'll take
of the
pictures.
things of the pieces that we're actually
I love
talking
that
about.
one.
So, and that particular piece, I kind of had sitting around for a year now. She was actually sculpted in a gallery in Steamboat Springs, Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So I
wow.
had a sheer, like a corner of the gallery that was like a private little room, but it was fabric. So we had a bright light on the model and myself. So she was nude. We had her on a little stool, so she was stood up a little bit. And I sculpted her, and every 20 minutes she took a break, put her robe on, and she went out, and the gallery was packed. It was an evening event.
Wow.
And I had 3 hours to get her. Her name is Sylvia.
Oh, wow.
And so I would bring my stand out, and people would check the progress, and we go back in, and so it was a lot of fun.
I
Yeah.
bet it was. Wow.
Yeah. it's
Everybody
very
had a
cool.
good time, and I got a really nice piece out of it.
It's beautiful.
Well, you do a lot of live demonstrations.
I love them. I
Yeah.
like the energy of them.
You did, because you're part of the Coeur d'Alene Arts Association.
I am not, actually.
Oh, you're not?
No, I have been invited as a guest each year. Usually Terry Lee, myself, Bob Krogel, and a couple others
Do a
would come and do
demonstration for their annual thing.
Yeah,
Right.
So it's really nice. Last 2 years ago, when was it? Oh, maybe a little bit longer. I was there, and I sculpted my mountain goat.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was
Oh, wow.
that was done there. So, and there was a young man that was, and that's the coolest thing about sculpting public is people who, just like myself, when I saw how I found out about sculpting was the garden tour of Coeur d'Alene had it was double yard like a big park, back to back, and this woman was out in there, and she had a sculpting stand, just an old wooden sculpting stand, and a really large female figure she was working on, and I'm like beeline to her.
Right.
And she told me about the class, which is what I bought for my daughter that I ended up going to. So it just like myself and the people that see you, the young man that saw me when I was working on the goat, I just give him tools and clay and let him go for it. So he actually did a lot of the rock formation that the goat's on. And
wow.
you know, it's that public opportunity where somebody may get to do something that they wouldn't normally get to.
Right.
And it isn't just kids, it's all ages. I mean,
Yeah.
like myself, I was probably 80 when I saw that, right?
I think that math is wrong.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw we have a grandson who isn't our actual grandson, but it's a long story. But anyway, Eli, who his father lives in Australia, and he was up visiting, and we had them, and I took them to Art Walk. And that was when the painter's chair was there, and Cheryl was sculpting
Steve
Terry
Short.
Lee, and made Terry Lee look like a devil.
Yeah, but
And
it wasn't just me. I opened it up
other
to
people.
everybody.
Oh, funny.
But it was just really fun
Yeah.
because he was like, I'm going to say 6 or 7, and he was enthralled with it.
Yeah.
And it was just really fun, and what a great way to introduce somebody to,
Yeah.
especially little ones.
Last night, the
Yeah,
young lady that I sculpted 2 weeks ago kept coming back, and she's just taken with, like
Yeah.
I said, she kind of fell in love with the artist. But really, did she fall in love with the artist or the art?
The art.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but they're connected.
Yeah.
The artist and the art are connected.
Well, I'll never
Yeah.
forget Mickey Manx. That was the name of the lady that was doing the sculpture when I got it for my daughter.
Oh, right.
But I knew her, through I came to know her.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know her then.
Wow. I know. Just another example how art connects all of us.
Super important.
It is
Yeah.
super important.
And I think that myself included don't always give it the value. I love it, and it's every fiber in me, but I don't always make that connection until I actually. Maybe I'm very visual. I need to see it happen.
Right.
So like this little girl, I mean, you got to know she's going to want to do this. And last night when I was sculpting you, did you see the 3 girls that came up?
Yes.
And one
Yes.
of them was like, I really want to do this, or I am just learning, novice they called.
Uh-huh.
But if it's in there,
Yeah.
it's in there.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite part of last night is
watching them
people
come up.
Yeah, when the weather is good, there'll
Yeah.
be a group of 25 people that stand
Oh, I
there.
bet.
30
Yeah.
people that
Yeah.
they just stop and they'll gather around, and the clay's not cold and it goes on a little smoother. And
Right.
last night was a little challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. But it connects people. I mean, the art and watching people watch you work. I mean, there is something about that because, I mean, it's not everyone can do what you can do, and you can watch a ball, 2 balls,
2 balls.
turn into people,
Right.
turn into us,
Turn into us.
which is amazing, and that's I don't know. I even seeing the little tool you brought out. Whatever that is. What is that called? The little measuring thing.
Oh, yeah.
Calipers.
The calipers.
Calipers. I do like to use calipers. Yes, I can wing it.
Yeah.
But the calipers are nice because if I don't use calipers, my heads grow. Yeah.
We witnessed that yesterday.
Well, it didn't grow too much
No,
because
they look good
Right.
now.
Well, when I looking at Callie, you just assume that her head's going to be a lot smaller,
And it's huge.
and it really was not. It was a little narrower.
Yeah.
but it was the same height from length.
Yeah.
From
Right.
chin to top of her head as you.
Yeah.
So it
found
can
out
be
some
deceiving.
We did find out some things.
I have a big nose.
You have a bigger nose than me, which I think is really funny because I don't think they look really that different at all.
I know, but it's funny. It's
Yeah,
cool.
that's where the examining people. to
Yeah.
the point of discomfort on their part, probably.
But it's also, I think it's fun for you to be out there with the public, because when you're in your studio, you're working mostly by yourself, you know, and you're
it's a solo
job, and not a job or a passion, whatever, it depends on the day,
Right.
I think.
Yes.
But then to be out there and have people interact with you, I think
there's a lot of power in that.
that's really cool. You know, to share your work with everyone is so awesome. So you got to go check it out. Don't miss
for
out,
sure.
because this is what a cool thing to do.
Right. So Wednesdays in the summertime,
Yes.
in downtown Coeur d'Alene from 4 to 7, you can find Cheryl working on her sculptures.
On Fifth Street, which is right next to the building I'm in.
Yeah.
Right. Or come to the Rockford building at pretty much any time.
Yeah,
but,
if I'm not here,
specifically-
my number's on the door.
Right.
Just shoot me a text.
Yeah.
Or if you happen to have my number online or something, shoot me a text first, and I will make sure that you're here on a time that I can be here.
And I
Right.
did want to mention that you have been posting a lot on Instagram lately.
Oh, yes.
So I want to mention that you've got to check out
At Metcalf.Cheryl.
And you can see a lot of her work, and
And her videos.
and you can see kind of her process and in a fun way, I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
And it's what a great way to promote, you know, and get other people to go, well, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm not a good marketer, but I do enjoy sharing processes.
And I think that's one of the best marketing tools that is out there.
It is right now. It's very popular.
Well, it's a ton of fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Instagram.
And another art form. I'm having a great time learning to make those little reels, playing with those.
That's
Yeah.
really fun too. But you can also find Cheryl in here on the second Friday Art Walk
yes.
from 5 to 8 every second Friday of the year.
Yes.
And I'm usually here Tuesday through Friday. Mondays I have other obligations.
So definitely.
And I teach a class.
Oh, right. Tell us about your class that you teach.
So I'm going to back that word up. Teach.
Okay.
I'm not a born
Facilitate.
teacher by any means. So the more novice you are, the better teacher I am.
I get that.
And but I'm getting slowly. I keep trying to get better. Definitely I need to spend more time in maybe literature and things. But so the class is almost always a nude, or unless we're doing a head study. Occasionally we've kind of broke off and done an animal. Or at one point we did hands or feet,
Right.
Just the individual studies.
Yeah.
But if there's a parent with a release form, you can be younger than 18. The models are all across the board. The students or the people that come and sculpt, their skill level is all across the board. So like right now, the youngest in there I have is a 20-year-old, and the oldest is in her 70s.
And are you still doing those at Terry Lee's studio?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he has a large enough space. He has all the really nice sculpting stands. So when I have a new session starting, I always start with it. The first week is for people who do not know how to build an armature. So those people will come a week before the session actually starts.
Oh, okay.
Get their armature going, and then the following week, and if it's a full body, it's usually about 6 weeks long.
Wow.
They're 3 hours. They're $20 a night.
And the $20 helps pay for the
Terry Lee's space and the model.
right?
And so we're always looking for models too. So
I did the modeling once, but it was for the sketching class, and I didn't have to be nude.
yeah, and it doesn't matter if you're sitting for a head study, or just a regular or a nude. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than you would.
So they do
still.
get breaks, 20 to 30 minutes, or whenever you need it. Depends on the complexity of the pose.
Right.
And you get them often.
I just remember I got paid $60 to model, and I used that to get a massage because my neck was crooked.
Right. Yeah, and the head studies, you know, if they've got you in a funny little position, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yeah.
Oh, I think I put myself in that position thinking, oh, this would be fun.
This would be fun, right?
And then by the end, I'm like, ooh, that was not a brilliant idea.
That was not fun. I should have I did not choose wisely.
But you know, everybody thinks that they can do more, and we are really good about going, okay, all your weight's on one hip. How's it feel? I know you can't hold that.
Yeah.
Beyond, you know, so we've done it long enough. We have some core students, or I shouldn't say students, sculptors that have been there so long that we know that if we have had somebody, only one person kind of quit midway, but generally we're pretty good about.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I think we have a sculpture to get back to.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Thank you so much for being my models and
well, thank you so
Coming
much
and
for
sharing
letting
some
us
time with
do
me
this
in here.
because
I know.
it's really fun.
I know. It's awesome. I've never had this done.
I know.
It actually is going to be a really fun piece. I think that you guys are going to enjoy it, and we're going to make something happen with it, even if we have to. We'll probably pour it in resin,
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'll be great.
and we will get it to a nice finished state.
Who knows?
Cool.
Maybe we'll get a benefactor who'll pay for it to come in
Bronze us.
Oh boy!
Allie and Callie in bronze.
Right? Nice.
Our
and you can
husbands.
have a big plaque right there.
Yeah,
the Allie and Callie
exactly.
show.
Yeah.
Right?
We've
be your
made
new
it.
logo.
We made it.
Your new logo picture.
It's an
Exactly.
award. We could make it an award. or
Oh,
something.
yeah. That'd be fun.
You guys, it's been
love it.
fun.
It has been fun.
Thanks so much, Cheryl.
Thank
This was
you.
great.
It was great. Well, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie, and whatever you do today, make sure it's creative.
The Allie and Callie Artcast is a program of the Coeur d'Alene Arts and Culture Alliance and is sponsored by NIA, North Idaho Alliance, a woman-based leadership organization designed to inspire, uplift, and impact your community and lives. And Tubbs Coffee Roasters, globally sourced, locally roasted coffee.